Okay, so here we have the two symbols side by side. The one on the left being from the Necronomicon, obviously, is the lunar gate of Nana. And the one on the right being the pentacle for the lunar sphere in the key of Solomon. Now on this, the one on the left, Simon or Peter Levinda writes in the Gates of the Necronomicon about it. He says, the lunar gate, the gate of Nana, called Sin, is markedly different from the other six that follow. For one thing, it appears as an actual doorway and is rather symmetrical in design. Similar designs can be found on talismans from the Middle East, and the curious reader is directed to the various works by the indefatigable Orientalist E.A. Budge for examples, particularly Amulets and Talismans, which is a book that E.A. Budge wrote. In the doorway in the center of the gate is inscribed the name Nana in Greek letters. The other words are indecipherable, but appear to read from left to right and from top to bottom. Mim, M-I-M, to Kaba, X-A-B-A, Kla, C-L-A. It is to be noted that there is no letter C in Greek, so its appearance here is something of a mystery, unless upsilon or an iota was intended. There's a lunar crescent in the lower left-hand corner, in the upper and lower frames of the gate, end in a down-turning arrow, and the Aga sign, respectively, which is the elder sign you can see on the bottom right-hand corner, as to where the one in the Key of Solomon is kind of like that, but not really the same thing. But which came first, we will probably never know. Or, you know, did they copy this off of the Key of Solomon? Don't really know for sure. One thing we do know is that the one on the left in the Necronomicon is not necessarily totally truly of a Babylonian nature in its writing, seeing that there's Greek on there and everything, but who knows, maybe it could have been, and maybe over time the names, well, not the names, but the characters that the names were written in could have been changed. But I want to notice here also, have you know, that it's especially weird that Mr. Levinda, being as versed as he is in the occult lore, didn't go ahead and outright name the Key of Solomon, as to show you the resemblance between this and in the book of the Key of Solomon. But he goes out of his way to describe a book to you, Amulets and Talismans by E.A. Budge, which I do have the book, and in that book there's nothing like this talisman right here, or this gate inscription. So I'm just wondering why he would have thrown that out there, as maybe as a curveball, or maybe he didn't know. Personally, I think he's too smart to not have known. But then again, can I prove this? No, I can't. But anyways, let's move on to some other points here. Okay, so here we have this second gate, which belongs to Nebo. As far as anything on there is being found anywhere else, I haven't seen it anywhere. The top left hieroglyph is also found on the frontlet of calling, described in the Simon Necronomicon. And on the bottom left appears to be some type of Greek symbol, you know, as far as to what it is, or perhaps even Simon says here in the Gates of the Necronomicon, or Peter Levinda, it might be a symbol for the trident, or caduceus. Now on the bottom middle on the left, you see a circle, and then you see a couple of circles with a line in between. Now the circle with the line in between in alchemy is also a symbol for salt, but as to whether that's what it means here, I kind of doubt it, which kind of leads me to believe that this whole gate right here might be kind of suspect, in my humble opinion. But can I prove that? No. But can I disprove it either? No. So here we have the third gate of Inanna, or also known as Ishtar. There's some weird things going on here. Some, a lot of the usual crazy looking squiggly lines that we have no idea what they mean. In the kind of top left, you see a symbol there, circle with a equilateral cross drawn through it, which is also a symbol for the earth. Again, we have the little number 3 looking glyph there right underneath that. And on the top, it looks like we have, somewhat of some Romanized English lettering there, saying something like Appa, A-P-P-A. And on the other side, Anna, if we go clockwise, and under that, again, kind of Anna, maybe this could be something to do with Anana, and following around on the other point of the square there, we have a Ara, A-R-R-A, which anybody who studied the Necronomicon knows what that means. And on the top we have Inanna written, from on one side to the other. We got the elder sign in the other corner there on the bottom. So really don't know what to think about it. I mean, obviously Roman style lettering wasn't, it didn't have anything to do with Babylonian lettering. And if this gate is original from Babylon or Sumeria, was it in the same style but written in with Babylonian cuneiform? We don't know. Again, can't really prove it or disprove it. So there we have it. Okay, so here we have the fourth gate of the Sumerian god Utu, or as he's later known in Babylon, Shamash, which is pretty much means the sun in that language, the god of the sun. In this gate also, there's nothing real, as to what I see, is really particular as into having to do with the Kabbalah or any symbolism that I've seen anywhere else. Again, I haven't seen any of this anywhere in any other grimoires or writings. At one time I possibly thought that maybe some of the letterings in here were part of the other kind of written down language called passing of the river, or certain other glyphs and languages that are shown, Malachim, they're all kind of based off the Hebrew language, which again is, a later spin-off of Sumerian and Babylonian language and glyphs and cuneiform. But then again here, I can't really see anything that's, of symbology to the sun, as far as on the cabalistical ladder of lights. On the bottom, if you were to almost maybe turn it upside down, it could almost say Shamash in kind of a bastardized English form, but then again, I don't know. Really don't know what to think about this one. Here we have the fifth gate of the god of Mars, Nergal. And basically, I can kind of see some symbology on here that makes sense. The knife in the lower left-hand corner, which is associated with things of Mars, weapons and war, things like blood, industry, things like that associated with Mars. And here we have another glyph right above the center square, the sign of the Watcher there, or they call it Bandar. And right to the right of the square in the center, again, we see the Ara with the moon on top of it, and kind of going down in a weird shape to two little circles there. Other than that, I can't really recognize anything on there except, the top right hand corner, another glyph that we see earlier in the Simon Necronomicon. And other than that, I don't know, I really don't know what to think about that. Okay, so here we have the sixth gate, the gate of Marduk. The first one claimed among the gods after the victory in battle with Tiamat, according to the legend here of the Enuma Elish, and also found in the Magon text. in a fuller form. There is a few things in here that we recognize, we know what they are. You see the elder sign there in the top left. Kind of looks like an upside down cross there next to it. No idea what that is. We see the all-seeing eye in the top right corner. And again under that the sign of the watcher. And to the left of the all-seeing eye we have what almost looks like the sign of Pluto, but maybe in a kind of a bastardized version. And really Pluto was never discovered till about 1930, so it's doubtful that that is what that means. So, and again, you know, a lot of squiggly looking lines and no correlation to anything anywhere in any other grimoires that I've ever seen. Okay, so here we have the seventh gate, the gate of Minam, or Adar, as it was later called. The only thing we have a few things recognizable here. In the top, we see the Ara sign again, the five-pointed star, or the plow sign. And right below that, which might be of something of interest, anybody versed in astrology might think, you know, that looks like the sign of Leo, but that would in no way correspond to Saturn at all, as Leo is pretty much the antithesis of Saturn, being that the sun is the ruler of Leo. It would just be two totally ends of the spectrum. Now, another point astrologically that could be said that refers to the dragon's head and also the dragon's tail. When it's upright like that, that would refer to the dragon's head, which in this case wouldn't make no sense at all. And if it were upside down, it would probably make more sense, because that would represent the dragon's tail, or what they call the south node, which is more of like a Saturn type influence in astrological charts. And so it just kind of don't make no sense. And to the right of that, we almost see a sign that kind of looks like the sign of Scorpio, and also looks like a person, you know, the symbol of a person holding their hands up in almost some type of gesture, almost like in a Freemasonic gesture, I guess. Is there no help for a widow's son gesture, but I kind of highly doubt that. And the flower to the left, and I don't know. Now, to the left, it almost looks like we have kind of written in the Greek form, Kamodamian. Okay, close. I mean, I don't know what the Kamo means, you know, the X-A-M-O, but there we have what looks like it's almost says daemon, which means spirit in Greek. And other than that, I really don't know. I have no idea. Some of the letters. Now, if you look on the right-hand column going down, we see the dragon's tail down there, which makes sense. The upside down looking Leo sign. See, it kind of looks like a horseshoe, but with the two circles on the ends. Don't always have to be with circles on the ends, but in my humble opinion, that's what it looks like to be. But then again, we see the letter A, and we see other glyphs there that could almost be interpreted as a R, or perhaps Hebrew letters, you know. So it's really can't say for sure what it means. And cabalistically speaking, symbolically speaking, if any of these images relate to Saturn in that sphere of influence, or Adar, I would have to say the closest thing I see on there that relates to it is the horseshoe looking symbol there, which would represent the dragon's tail. Other than that, I just really don't know. Never seen any of this anywhere else, which brings me to the whole point of this conversation about the gates. You know, to me, that's why some of this seems a little suspect, as to maybe Peter Levinda or Simon wasn't bringing out all the information that they know, or either that or some of it was a forgery. And if it is, to not really be disheartened, but we can do this, you know, make it the right way, ceremonially and magically speaking. I'm going to go ahead and read you a little verse here out of the Gates of the Necronomicon. from Peter Levenda here. It says, as always, when dealing with occult symbols on talismans, amulets, magic circles, etc., when the meaning or representation of a symbol is not known or understood, the symbol must be copied down exactly as shown. Take this with a grain of salt, mind you. The errors that can obtain through sloppiness or carelessness can cause grief in the future. Many of the original angelic tablets of Dr. John Dee and Edward Kelly were miscopied and misrepresented, causing no end of troubles for the Golden Dawn. Many of the Hebrew grimoires are also full of copyist errors. For this reason, one finds this strict admonition in the Necronomicon and virtually every other grimoire. Copy this exactly as you see it, changing nothing, no matter how small or how slight a change it appears. Those who have studied the Hebrew are aware of the slight difference that exists between, say, the letter He and the letter Keth, or between Daleth and Resh. Differences that, to a Gentile eye, seem insignificant, but that change in pronunciation, gematria, and meaning of the word entirely. One thinks of our letters U and V, or I and L. The same is the true of magical glyphs. Mistakes are not okay. And then again, this is opinion right here of Simon or Peter Levenda. Now, in other grimoires and things I've read on this, it says not to change anything unless you are really sure of what you're working with and know the languages and know symbology and are a true Kabbalist and know what the meaning is trying to represent. Then is it okay to change the meanings, especially when we have corrupted texts that are so corrupt, almost beyond corrupt, which probably, I'm guessing, this is. So with that being said, you could still probably copy all the gates exactly the way they are and get the same effect, or use the gates from the John Dee Necronomicon with the same effect. But what's really going to matter, in my opinion, is the key that I want to get to here.